Hey Reddit, I never thought I'd be one of those people writing a post like this, but I guess life has a way of kicking you right where it hurts. I'm still trying to make sense of everything, but maybe writing it out will help. Or maybe someone out there has been through something similar. So here goes. My wife and I have been together for 8 years, married for 5. We met in our late 20s, both fresh out of long-term relationships, both looking for something real. And for the first few years, it really was. She was smart, funny, ambitious, beautiful. I fell hard. We traveled, we built a home together, we made plans for the future. I genuinely believed I hit the jackpot. But then, I don't even know when it started. Maybe a year ago, a little more, things began to shift. It was subtle at first. She'd brush me off when I tried to have a conversation, say she was tired or stressed. I chalked it up to work. She got promoted around that time, so I figured she was just adjusting to the pressure. Then came the nights out. Girls' night, late meetings, book club, which she never used to care about before. I didn't want to be that guy, clingy, paranoid, so I let it slide. Gave her space. Trusted her. I really trusted her. But something in my gut kept whispering that things weren't okay. It's like watching a puzzle fall apart piece by piece. The woman I used to know, who used to laugh with me in bed at 2 a.m. over dumb jokes, who used to send me random selfies during the day just because, she was vanishing. Replaced by someone cold, distant, and calculating. And still, I stayed quiet. Because when you love someone that deeply, the idea that they could hurt you like that feels impossible. Unthinkable. Well, I was wrong. It started with little things. You know how they say hindsight is 20/20? Yeah, I ignored way more red flags than I care to admit. First, it was the phone. She used to be so open with it, it would be lying around. She'd ask me to reply to texts for her while she was cooking. But then she added a passcode. No big deal, right? Everyone wants privacy. But she'd suddenly jump if I walked into the room while she was using it. Start locking the screen the second I came near. Then there was her social media. I don't snoop, never had a reason to. But she suddenly got a lot more active on Instagram. Posting selfies with captions like, feeling myself, or independent energy only. Stuff she never used to care about. I'd ask her about it jokingly, and she'd just roll her eyes and say, let a girl vibe, babe. But the real gut punch? She stopped being affectionate. Not just physically, I'm not just talking about sex, which, yeah, pretty much disappeared, but emotionally. No, I love you unless I said it first. No random hugs or smiles. Just flat. Like I was a roommate. A burden. I tried talking to her once. Just an open-hearted, hey, are you okay? Are we okay? And she snapped at me. Said I was too intense. That I needed to stop overanalyzing everything. That she was just stressed. So I let it go. I wanted to believe her. Hell, I needed to believe her. But something inside me kept twisting. A voice saying, this isn't just stress. Something's wrong. And I hate that voice because it was right. I wasn't looking for anything. I swear to God, I wasn't. But the truth has a way of showing up when you least expect it. Like a punch you don't see coming. It was a Wednesday. Totally ordinary. She had book club that night, the one with the friends I'd never met and the books she never talked about. I was home alone, trying to distract myself with some stupid show. Her iPad buzzed on the counter. Now here's the thing, we shared that iPad. It was always a mutual device, we used it for recipes, online shopping, whatever. It wasn't like I was digging through her stuff. The screen lit up, and I saw a message pop up on iMessage. Last night was perfect. You always know how to relax me, face blowing, a kiss, can't wait for this weekend. From someone saved as M. My stomach dropped. I just stood there, frozen. My hands went numb. I wish I could say I acted calm or rational or even angry, but I didn't. I just stared. My mind went blank. Like my body couldn't catch up with what my eyes were reading. My heart was slamming in my chest. I unlocked the iPad, no passcode. The conversation was right there. Dozens of messages. Flirty, explicit, filled with inside jokes and casual mentions of hotel rooms and our spot. And the worst part? She talked about me. Mocked me. He actually believes I'm at book club again, face with tears of joy. I just tell him I'm too tired for sex. Works every time. I swear he'd probably thank you for screwing me if it made me smile at him once in a while. I felt like I was reading someone else's nightmare. I literally had to sit down because my legs were shaking so bad. My chest hurt. I wanted to throw the iPad against the wall, scream, cry, anything, but I just sat there in silence. The truth was finally staring me in the face, and it broke something in me. She came home around 10:30 that night, humming as she walked through the door like nothing was wrong. I was still sitting in the living room, lights off, iPad in my lap. She froze when she saw me. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just looked up and said, as calmly as I could, "How was book club?" She blinked. Her face went pale for a second, but she recovered fast. Too fast. "It was fine. Why are you sitting in the dark like a serial killer?" She joked, forcing a laugh. I lifted the iPad, tapped the screen, and opened the thread with M. "Because I read your messages." Silence. Her expression changed like a switch had flipped, from forced confusion to stone-cold defiance. "You went through my stuff?" she snapped. That was her first reaction. Not guilt, not shame, not even denial, just straight-up blame. "You had no right to invade my privacy," she continued. "That's abusive, you know? Controlling." I felt like I was going insane. "You're cheating on me, and you're mad that I found out?" She rolled her eyes. "You're always so dramatic. It was just flirting. God, you're so insecure." I showed her the part where she talked about hotel rooms. "About me. Still just flirting?" I asked. And then she did something I'll never forget. She smirked. "Maybe if you weren't so boring, I wouldn't need someone else to make me feel alive." Felt like getting stabbed in the chest. The rest was a blur. We yelled. I cried. She said things I can't unhear. Cold, cutting things. She twisted everything. Said I was emotionally needy, too sensitive, never ambitious enough. That she deserved more. She never apologized. Not once. She acted like she was entitled to it. Like I should be grateful she stayed with me this long. Eventually, she stormed out and slammed the door. I sat on the floor for what felt like hours. Not because I still loved her, but because I realized the woman I married never really existed. A few days after the confrontation, I thought the worst was over. I was wrong. I guess I assumed the guy, M, was just some sleazy fling, maybe a coworker or someone she met online. I didn't even want to know more. I was too exhausted, too hollow. But then I got a message on Facebook from someone I didn't know. It was a woman. Her name was Sarah, and she introduced herself as M's wife. Wife. She said she found my name through some photos tagged with my wife years ago. Apparently, M had slipped up and left his texts open on a shared computer. Sarah saw everything. The name, the messages, the dates. And it turns out, this wasn't just a fling. My wife and M had been seeing each other for over a year. They had a routine. Hotel nights, long drives, fake business trips. He told Sarah he was working late, just like my wife told me she had meetings. They even went away for a weekend to a cabin in the mountains. A trip I thought she'd taken with her coworkers. And here's the real kicker. It wasn't just him. Sarah mentioned another guy. She had screenshots from when she confronted M, and apparently, my wife had been bragging about how two men were wrapped around her finger, and that she didn't owe anyone honesty. When I saw those screenshots, something broke inside me. Not just pain, but disbelief. Like I'd fallen into some alternate version of reality where nothing made sense anymore. It wasn't just infidelity. It was a pattern, a game, a calculated, manipulative performance by someone I once believed would die before hurting me. I thought back to every smile, every "I love you," every time she held my hand while lying to my face, and it made my skin crawl. This wasn't a one-time mistake. This was who she is, and somehow I didn't see it. After talking to Sarah, I was in freefall. Couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I kept replaying everything, wondering how deep the lie went. I hadn't told anyone yet. Not really. I was embarrassed, humiliated, like I had failed, like I was the joke and everyone else was in on the punchline. But the silence was eating me alive. So I called my sister. We're close, always have been, and she's the kind of person who doesn't sugarcoat. When I told her everything, from the iPad messages to Sarah's revelations, she was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "I knew something was off about her. I just didn't want to be the bad guy." Turns out, people did notice. My sister, my best friend Mark. Even my mom, who adored my wife for years, had started pulling back. "She always made you feel like you were lucky to have her," my mom said later. But it was the other way around. They'd seen the way she talked over me in conversations. The passive-aggressive digs. The way she always needed to be the center of attention. How she twisted things so I'd be the one apologizing when she got angry. They never said anything because I seemed happy. Because I defended her every time. I guess when you're in it, when you're in love, you don't want to believe you're being played. You make excuses. You fill in the blanks with hope. But once I opened up, the floodgates broke. Everyone had a story. A moment. A bad feeling. A thing they brushed aside because they didn't want to hurt me. And that hurt more than anything. Because it meant I was the last to know. Everyone had seen her mask slipping. Everyone except me. After everything blew open, after the confrontation, after the message from Sarah, after hearing what my own family had noticed all along, I was left sitting in the wreckage, trying to figure out why. I needed to understand. I needed it to make sense. Because the alternative that she hurt me just because she could was too painful to accept. So yeah, I did what most broken men do at 2 a.m. when their world's fallen apart. I dug. I went back through old messages, emails, even photos. I combed through her social media, captions I used to skim, now reread like coded confessions. Her smile in pictures started to look fake. Her texts felt rehearsed. And her sweet notes, I started noticing how they were always short, generic, like filler to keep me pacified. Then came the journal. I never knew she kept one. It was in a zippered pouch inside her suitcase. I wasn't looking for it, I was grabbing something she asked me to bring over to her mom's place where she had temporarily moved. But curiosity got the better of me. Most of it was what you'd expect, thoughts, goals, dumb quotes. But then there was a page titled, "Things I Want Without Feeling Guilty." Yeah, and on that list, to feel wanted by more than one person. To be selfish just once. To lie and not care. To stop pretending I care about his fragile feelings. I don't even know how long I stared at that last line. It felt like someone reached into my chest and wrung my heart dry. That's when it hit me. I wasn't losing her. I never had her. The woman I loved was someone I built in my head out of hope, trust, and every kind thing she ever said to me when it was convenient for her. But the real her? She was right there in her own handwriting, unapologetic, cold, and deliberate. And even then I still wanted a reason. Something to tell me I wasn't completely worthless to her. But all I got was silence. And pages full of everything I didn't want to believe. A few days after I found the journal, she texted me. No apology. No explanation. Just, "Can we talk? I think we need closure." I shouldn't have agreed. But closure is like gravity when you're heartbroken, it pulls you in whether you want it or not. We met at a quiet cafe across town. Neutral ground. She showed up in her nice clothes, the ones she wore when she wanted to impress someone. Hair done, lipstick on, eyes glassy like she'd practiced looking remorseful in the mirror. I said nothing. I just waited. She sat down and went straight into it. Said she was confused. Said she lost herself. Said she never meant to hurt me. I stared at her like she was a stranger. Because at this point, she was. Then came the classic lines. "It didn't mean anything. You pushed me away. You weren't emotionally available." The last one made me laugh out loud. I was the one who begged for connection. I was the one asking her what was wrong for months. I was the one losing sleep trying to figure out how to fix what she was secretly burning to the ground. "You didn't even cry when I found out," I said. "You didn't even flinch." She looked at me dead in the eyes and said, "Crying wouldn't have changed anything. You already made up your mind." And in that moment, I realized she never came for closure. She came to see if there was still something she could salvage, not the relationship, but her image. Her power. Maybe if I had begged, she could have told herself she was still wanted. Maybe if I had crumbled, she could have played the victim. But I didn't. I just looked at her and said, "I hope one day you feel what I felt. And I hope it breaks you." Then I walked away. She didn't follow. She never called again. That was the day I stopped hoping for answers and started learning how to live without them. You always hear about hitting rock bottom. What they don't tell you is that rock bottom isn't just one moment, it's a season. It's waking up at 3 a.m. to silence so loud it feels like it's choking you. It's going to the grocery store and staring blankly at a shelf, realizing you've been standing there for 10 minutes because her favorite cereal is in front of you. It's walking past a mirror and not recognizing the man in it, hollow eyes, unshaven like someone halfway between grief and collapse. That was me. Every day for weeks. I didn't eat. I couldn't focus at work. I pushed friends away because I was too ashamed to keep repeating the same sentence. I don't know how I didn't see it. Nights were the worst. I'd lie in bed and replay every memory, her laugh, her voice, her texts, and then overlay it with what I now knew. Like watching your favorite movie again, only this time with subtitles that reveal it was all fake. The anger came in waves, but it always ended in exhaustion. Not even sadness, just a kind of numb gray. I wanted to scream, break things, but all I could do was sit and rot. There were moments I questioned everything about myself. Was I too boring? Too soft? Too trusting? Was I not man enough? Not interesting enough? Why wasn't I enough? I started journaling. At first just scribbles. Half-thoughts. Rage-filled entries that read more like confessions. Then gradually my voice started to return. And buried somewhere under all that pain was a truth I didn't want to face. She didn't break me. I handed her the hammer. Because I gave everything to someone who gave me pieces. Because I saw the signs and still chose blindness. Because I loved her more than I loved myself. But that was about to change. There wasn't some big cinematic moment where I suddenly took my power back. No dramatic music, no Hollywood monologue. It was quieter than that. It started with one morning I looked in the mirror and said, I don't want to feel like this anymore. That was it. Just a whisper to myself. But it was the first time in weeks I heard myself think without her voice drowning me out. So I filed for divorce. No trial separation, no couples therapy, no chance for her to gaslight me back into submission. I went straight to a lawyer, signed the papers, and had them delivered. Her response? A single text. Wow. So that's it? Yes. That's it. It was never about revenge. I didn't want to hurt her back. I didn't have the energy to play games. I just wanted myself back. I started therapy, real therapy. No macho crap, no pretending I was fine. Just brutal honesty with someone who didn't flinch when I said things like, I feel like a fool. I don't trust anyone anymore. I think I hate her, and I hate that I still miss her sometimes. I told close friends the truth. I cried in front of people. I let myself break. And weirdly, that's when I started healing. I changed my routine, deleted old photos, canceled the Spotify family plan she was still using, blocked her on everything. It was like peeling her out of my life one layer at a time. And every layer made it easier to breathe. I still had days where I slipped, where I'd stare at the divorce paperwork or hear a song that hit too close. But the difference was I didn't feel stuck anymore. I had made the decision. I wasn't hers anymore. I was mine. You don't realize how much space a toxic person takes up in your mind until they're gone. At first, it felt like stepping into an empty house where every room echoed. Everything reminded me of her, the dent in the couch cushion, the mug she always used, the playlist we'd made together. It was like living in a museum of a life that didn't exist anymore. But slowly, the silence stopped being painful. It started to feel like peace. I got back into things I'd forgotten I loved. Running. Cooking for myself instead of just trying to impress someone. Playing guitar badly, but who cares? No one's rolling their eyes now. I even went on a weekend trip by myself. Just me, a trail, and a backpack. No pretending, no filters, no lies. And you know what shocked me most? I started to like being alone. Because being alone isn't the same as being lonely. When I was with her, I was lonelier than I ever knew. I stopped blaming myself. That took a while. But it came with time, therapy, and brutal honesty. I realized I hadn't failed as a husband. I'd shown up every damn day. I'd tried. I'd fought for something she treated like an accessory. I stopped seeing myself as the guy who got cheated on. I started seeing myself as the guy who survived. The guy who walked through hell and came out carrying his own heart, still beating. I even started dating again slowly, carefully. I wasn't looking for love, just connection. I was honest about where I'd been, and surprisingly, people respected that. There was no shame anymore, just growth. Do I still think about her sometimes? Yeah, but not with longing. I think about her the way you think about a bad storm you lived through. You remember the damage, but you also remember how you rebuilt. Just when I thought the last page had been turned, life handed me one more chapter. It had been about 3 months since the divorce was finalized. I hadn't heard from her, no texts, no emails, no weak attempts at checking in. Total silence. Which was fine by me. Until I got a message from a mutual acquaintance, a guy we both knew from her old job. Not close, not someone I kept in touch with, but he apparently didn't know we'd split. His message was short. Hey, man, congrats, I guess? Just heard the news. So is it true she's pregnant? My stomach dropped. I stared at the screen, rereading the message like it might suddenly make sense. Pregnant? What? I didn't even respond at first. I called my lawyer. He hadn't heard anything either. A few hours later, curiosity and probably some masochism got the better of me and I checked her Instagram. Sure enough, there it was. A black and white ultrasound photo. Captioned, "Our little miracle. Coming this winter, yellow heart." Comments were turned off. No mention of who the father was. No tagged partner. Just a filtered lie wrapped in sentimentality. I did the math in my head. If she was as far along as it looked. She'd gotten pregnant right before I found out about the affair. Right before the iPad messages. Right when I still believed we had a future. I didn't need a paternity test. That child isn't mine. And the worst part? She never told me. Never gave me a heads up. Just scrubbed me from her life and built a new story without a trace of accountability. For a second, I felt that old rage again, the bitterness, the betrayal, the unfairness of it all. But then something strange happened. I didn't break. I didn't spiral. I didn't call or message her. I just sat with it. And eventually, I laughed. Because I realized this woman had finally created a life that would tie her to consequences she couldn't manipulate, ghost, or gaslight away. It wasn't my problem anymore. She was someone else's burden now. If you're reading this because something in your gut feels off, listen to it. Seriously. That quiet little voice? The one you keep shoving down, convincing yourself you're just paranoid or insecure. It's not lying to you. I wish I had listened sooner. I wish I had stopped explaining away red flags because I loved the person waving them. So here's what I've learned the hard way. If someone makes you feel crazy for asking reasonable questions, it's not love, it's manipulation. If your relationship depends on you constantly proving your worth, it's not a partnership, it's a performance. If someone treats your kindness like weakness, walk away before they break you completely. I spent years pouring everything into a person who saw me as a placeholder, a safety net until something more exciting came along. She didn't just betray me sexually, she emotionally gutted me piece by piece while convincing me I was lucky to have her. You don't deserve that. No one does. Real love doesn't leave you walking on eggshells. It doesn't demand blind loyalty while giving breadcrumbs in return. It doesn't make you question your sanity just to preserve someone else's comfort. And if you've already been through it, if you're sitting in the aftermath like I was, hear this. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're not unlovable. You were lied to. You were used. But that doesn't define who you are, it defines them. Take your time. Heal. Rage. Cry. Rebuild. But don't settle for survival. You deserve peace. You deserve a life that doesn't feel like a battle just to be seen. Looking back now, it feels like that version of me, the man who sat in the dark, holding an iPad and shaking from the inside out, belonged to another life. But he was me. And I'm proud of him. Not because he was strong every moment. He wasn't. Not because he figured it all out quickly. He didn't. But because when the world he knew collapsed, he stood up anyway. Eventually. Slowly. But he did. I used to think love meant holding on, no matter what. Fighting for the relationship, being the bigger person, sacrificing until it worked. But now I know. Real love doesn't require you to disappear to keep it alive. The woman I thought I knew? She was a mirror I filled with my own hope. My loyalty. My belief in people. She didn't steal those things, I gave them freely. And now I choose to give them more carefully. Not less, just wiser. This experience didn't ruin me. It revealed me. It stripped away the parts of me that were afraid to be alone. That confused being needed with being loved. That thought tolerating pain was noble. Yeah? I'm free. And freedom is quiet, steady, and peaceful. It doesn't beg. It doesn't chase. It just is. So here's how I'd end this. To anyone who's been betrayed, it's not the end. It's the beginning of the part where you matter again. Don't wait for closure. Don't wait for an apology that won't come. Don't wait for them to change. Close the door yourself. Say goodbye, not just to them, but to the version of you that accepted less than you deserved. And then walk forward, even if it hurts. Especially when it hurts. Because what's waiting for you on the other side of that pain is you. And you're worth finding again.